can't believe the day is finally here. James Gunn's Superman is finally out this weekend. I have seen it. We're going to review it. Spoiler free, of course. So anyway, let's do this. Superman stars David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, and is directed by James Gunn.
Quit messing around!
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new 2025 review. I'm excited. I am finally reviewing the new Superman movie. If you don't know my channel too well, I am a massive Superman. He is tied for my number one with the Hulk. Call it nostalgia, call it my childhood. Those are the two characters that resonate with me the most in terms of comic book characters. Grew up with the Incredible Hulk television show, Bill Bixby, all that. And my first movie I ever saw in a movie theater was Superman 2 starring Christopher Reeve. Just a childhood idol of mine. So here we are. And I got to tell you guys, I love a lot of different flavors of Superman. I know there's this big divide these days, and you have to either like Snyder's version, or you can like James Gunn's version, or even like the earlier Christopher Reeve movies. But I'm not that way, okay? I can tell you right now, I love Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. It is one of my all-time favorite comic book films, and a lot of people online would look at that and say, oh, then he's not going to like this movie because you can't do that, right? Not in this day and age. It's impossible. There's no possible way you can enjoy both those movies. I love both of them. I love James Gunn's new movie, just to go ahead and tell you guys right now. And I love Man of Steel. Which one do I prefer? Does it matter? If I love both of them almost equally, does it even matter if I choose one over the other? And I can tell you right now, it's too early for me to tell you that. Just because this movie is on such a high for me right now. But I am glad that I at least waited a day before I recorded this spoiler-free review. And by the way, guys, thank you so much for 20,000 of you watching the out-of-theater reaction. And I think that's just because of the popularity of this movie. And I think, if anything's an indicator, this movie is going to be massive, like potentially $1 billion massive. This movie is going to just freaking destroy this weekend. And I just say that because I think every YouTuber is getting mad views off of this movie that normally talks about movies. Yeah, if you're jumping in, I'm going to do my first YouTube video and you're talking about this movie, you might not do that well. I don't know. Maybe you will. But I'm just saying, like, all of my peers and people that I even look up to, everybody's doing great view-wise on YouTube because of this movie. So that's why I think this movie is going to be huge. I know you're waiting for me to talk about the review, so let's go ahead and get right into it with a quick plot synopsis. And by the way, make sure you buy the Delilah versus the Gas Gun book if you have not yet. It's been doing very well. And today happens to be Delilah's birthday. As I'm recording this right now, my granddaughter is 4 years old today. Where does time go? It's amazing. And for her birthday, buy this book, okay? It's a great cause. It's a hero with a disability. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful story, okay? So, yeah, buy the book and say happy birthday to Delilah in the comments. And there will be a spoiler review for this because there's a lot of spoiler stuff to talk about. And there will also be a ranking of every Superman movie that I have seen, okay? But this movie takes place 3 years into Superman's becoming Superman. And Lex Luthor hates his guts. And you will definitely catch that early on in this movie. Nicholas Hoult is freaking fantastic as Lex Luthor. And I'm going to say this right now. I think he's the best Lex Luthor I've ever seen in film, okay, in movies, even beating out Gene Hackman. And I know that's a tall order, but I just love this approach of Lex Luthor. He is just very straightforward. He might be the most straightforward thing in this movie because it's a James Gunn movie and it's very chaotic. But he pretty much orchestrates this war between these two countries and puts Superman directly in the middle of it because Superman likes to save people. And then he turns the media on Superman. And I think this movie definitely pokes at the current state of media and journalism and how everything is sensationalized, and let's just try to make everything just black and white, a good guy and a bad guy, you know, support this, don't support that. That's what this movie shines a light on. Superman gets caught right in the middle of it. He's not prepared for this. He doesn't understand how the current world works as far as like, the media scrutinizing everything and making everyone pick a side, right? And Lex is really, really a thorn in Soup's side for most of this movie. And you really buy him as a capable villain, a very intelligent villain, putting together a group of, I guess you could call them worker bee villains to take on Superman that are pretty much at his level power-wise. And keep in mind, again, this is a young Superman figuring things out. He gets his ass kicked almost too much in this movie. And I will touch on some things that did kind of irk me, and that is one of them. And I'll just kind of expound on that once we get to that section of the review. But right now we're going to focus on the things that I like about the movie and love about this movie. Even not talking spoilers, there's a lot to talk about in this movie just because there's so much going on. There's so many characters. And James Gunn handles everything in this movie, I think, just beautifully. And it flies right by for 2 hours. First thing I want to talk about is just, this is a very, very different Superman movie. This is unlike anything we have ever seen before, and I think that is a great thing. I don't want another Man of Steel. And I was scared going into this movie, and I'll even say I haven't been as hyped for this movie as I should be. And yes, it's still my number one most anticipated movie of the year, but even saying that, I was completely surprised by how different it was and how much I wanted that. I didn't want the same thing as before, and I'm glad I didn't get that. Man of Steel is its own thing. Man of Steel's not a very funny movie at all. It plays it straight. It plays it very seriously. And I think that might have been a problem for a lot of people. They wanted a lighter Superman, kind of like what we got with Christopher Reeve. But this is very different from that movie in tone, for sure. And I think if you are aware of James Gunn, you know what you're getting. This feels very much like James Gunn, 100%. If you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 especially, that type of tone with characters, that's what this movie is. These characters are so fun, and I think James Gunn just makes the writing look easy and effortless. These characters, they almost write themselves, and his style of humor is unlike any other director or writer I've ever seen out there. And I think it's refreshing in terms of like the MCU style of humor, because I do think there's a certain brand in the MCU in terms of comedy, and it's nothing like what James Gunn does. And I think James Gunn makes all other humor in comic book movies look juvenile. His characters are just really fun. They're really punk rock, and that is a topic that is discussed in this movie with Superman, talking about music, talking about bands. This is something I don't think we've ever seen Superman do, talk about pop culture, talk about movies, and especially music, and he does that, and it's so fun in this. Good transition into Lois Lane. Rachel Brosnahan, I hate to sound like a broken record, this is my favorite Lois Lane. I think she's very similar to what Margot Kidder brought, but I think she takes it up a notch even better. But there's moments in here that definitely feel like Margot Kidder. But man, she is just so spunky and fun and just fresh. And I think they've had a tough time really nailing Lois Lane throughout the years. And I did like Amy Adams. I'm a fan of hers. But man, when you compare this Lois Lane to that, she looks very vanilla. Whereas this one, there's just so many different colors to the character. And she puts Superman in his place, quite often in this movie, but not in like a girl boss way, just in a very fun and natural way. Guys, I could literally spend an hour going through all the characters in this movie. I won't do that, but I will say I enjoyed all of them. Talking about mostly the good guys, and they jokingly call themselves the Justice Gang. But one that I will really talk about is Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern, Guy Gardner. He stole every freaking scene that he was in. I loved him to death. He was hilarious, not just funny, hilarious. And I know comedy is subjective, but man, my theater was just rolling. And even if the jokes weren't as funny as they were kind of coming off, I think it was just the overall tone of the movie. It's so damn freaking fun. And you can't help but just enjoy it and laugh with it and laugh at the stupidity of some of the characters in this. And I mean that in a great way. Guy Gardner, he's just that jolt of comic relief. And he's kind of the butt of a lot of the jokes from everybody else around him. And it got to the point where, like, where's Guy Gardner? I can't wait for him to come back on screen. He was that freaking good. And usually in a Superman movie, I'm hyper focused on Superman just because I love the character so much. So let's transition into Superman. And this is where I will get a little bit into the cons. But overall, I still love Superman as a character in this movie. And I have to cut them some slack, too, because, again, this is a younger version of Superman. David Corenswet, he does nothing wrong. I think he is such a great actor and so charismatic and so fun. And I like the way he bounces off other characters, because usually Superman is very kind of stoic and doesn't really even say that much sometimes. Not this character, not David Corenswet. This particular character, he gives it back. There's a good back and forth between not just him and Lois, but him and all the characters that he deals with. And he does, like I said earlier, majorly gets his ass kicked so much in this movie that it does almost get frustrating. You want those, what I call chill bump moments in a Superman movie. And if I throw it back to Man of Steel and the first time Superman flies, that moment, every time I watch it, it just gives me chill bumps. I can't deal with it. This, honestly, it doesn't have those types of moments. Yes, there's great action in the movie. You're going to get a kaiju-type creature like you get in most of James Gunn's big superhero movies. And I will even say there is a portion of this movie where we're kind of missing Superman. Like he's just off screen for quite a while, and I'm like, oh shit, when is Super? And you know what's going on with him, but it feels like it kind of lingers a little bit too long. And so that was kind of my hang up about the movie, and I think it could have been like perfection if they just sort of fine-tuned Superman in a couple of spots and maybe cranked up the chill bump moments, okay? But I think that's just a small gripe, and I still can't wait to see this movie again. It is so freaking fun. That is the word for this movie. If you want to get out, watch a fun popcorn movie that's very intelligently written, that is hilarious, and it's a really great movie to watch with a big, large crowd and see it on the biggest IMAX screen you can possibly see it on. I saw it in IMAX. It is glorious, absolutely glorious. The music is just earth-shattering. You have to see this movie on the big screen, okay? At a minimum, you got to see it on the big screen. Don't wait to watch this at home. This is the movie this year that you need to get out and see in the theater, people, okay? Man, I want to give this a Trapped so freaking bad. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just gonna, because that's how I'm feeling right now, right? So my rating right now is a Trapped on an Island. This movie is a freaking blast. It is so fun, despite my minor hangups with it. And I think those issues might fix themselves down the line with multiple watches. Or it could go the other way. I don't know. That's the thing about this movie. But I like that it's just another alternative for Superman. I'm in the mood for something serious. I watch Man of Steel. I'm in the mood for something really zany and silly. I watch this, And I think they're both perfection in my book. So, guys, I can't wait to get in the comments and talk about this movie with you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Look for the spoiler review. Look for the ranking for all the Superman movies that I've seen. And I've seen all of them since, I think, the first Christopher Reeve movie. So, yeah, they'll all be in there. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting ranking, and I still don't know where some movies are going to fall, including this one. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free for Fridays. Follow me, Drumdums, on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Become a channel member. Buy me a coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day, and Drumdum out.